All right. I am live on YouTube, live on Instagram, and see if I can watch this. One of these topics that you almost hate to have. Hey, am I coming through on YouTube? Can you hear me loud and clear? Just doing a sound check, making sure you can hear me. This is a topic that no one wants to have. I'm going to have it today. It's one of these dead elephants in the room. What's going on, everyone? Let me know I'm coming through. You can hear me loud and clear. Always appreciate the support. Been thinking about this topic for a bit, and I wanted to share with you some of the thoughts I'm having. It's one of the, like I said, unfortunate. Like when you come in, so that, all right, thanks, Ash. Thanks a lot. Click the like button so we can get YouTube distributing this so that we can bring the world in on this conversation. So as you see the topic, have women become bottom feeders? A lot of guys say women wait at the finish line for the best guy, right? So I want to give you another way to look at this. And I'm saying bottom feeders. So like the video when you come in. Thanks for joining the conversation. I posted my Cash App and PayPal, so I always appreciate your support. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I know. What's going on? Thanks for checking in, Reg. It's early. Well, it's not that early. Maybe if you're in California, it's early. Somewhere it's late. Somewhere someone's sleeping. Earlier than Sunday. But I wanted to get this conversation on the table. So let's have it. Have women become bottom feeders of society? And really, it's unfortunate that men and women even have to have such an ugly conversation. And this problem's not just in the U.S. Might have started in the Western world, in Europe. And for some reason, women believe it's acceptable to take from men without giving something of equal value, right? Just think about Jeff Bezos' wife. Oh, you just woke up. Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate you joining in. Going to give some food for thought. I have a couple of articles that I want to read. I won't read the whole thing, but these articles will help accentuate and really point out what I'm saying here. So, Jeff Bezos' wife is any woman worth is $45 billion. Has any woman earned $45 billion in a marriage? Like what do you possibly do, right? So we can talk about the things you do to build an organization to make it worth 45 billion or 100 billion. And that's a lot of work to do. But what are you doing as a wife that is worth that much? If you say sex, hell, all men should be insulted by that, because sex is mutual. And besides, if women hate sex, you really hate sex that much, why get into a relationship, especially with a man? So I'm saying we're at a point in society where it's time to actually force women to provide value to society, especially in relationships. And with over 70% of the divorces being initiated by women, it's costing society a lot of money. It's costing about $9 billion in lost productivity, because a divorce is a distraction, right? People lose their focus on work. They're so focused, either they're headed for a divorce, in the middle of one, or just came out of one. So it's costing our society a lot of money. So, and divorce also allows women to feed off men after the man does all the hard work and earn the income. And then she just comes in at the bottom. So what are we going to say? Well, women haven't had access to money. So before I read the articles, I want to create some context to support why I'm saying bottom feeders. So if you look at over time, women have said, oh, we just didn't have access to capital. We couldn't build. We've been locked into marriages. So for more than a century, women have been inheriting millions of dollars, millions, from their hardworking fathers who built companies like Walmart. And you have the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Carnegies. You have all these big name families where men actually went out and put in extremely hard work. And in some cases, these women inherited billions. So with that kind of access to capital, they could have built an entire civilization over the past, 100 years. Since they have not, what do women do with all this money? I mean, they are inheriting it. And we've given women high-paying jobs. Yet they still expect to marry a guy who earns more than they do, even though she earns 100, 200, 300, $500,000, still expects the man to earn more than her. So I'm confused. What is it women intend to do with their money? Shop? I mean, how is that building with a man? If you make all this money and you don't do anything with it, you actually expect the man to pay all the bills. You become a liability. So even when women win large divorce settlements, what do they build? Look at Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump, I think. Ivana. She got about $100 million out of the divorce settlement. Originally, it was $99 million in a prenuptial agreement, and she contested it, and I think ended up with 104, 105. Except with that amount of money, she worked in his business. She understood his business. Why didn't she become a billionaire real estate tycoon? I mean, $100 million is a great head start. She did nothing with it. Yeah, exactly. Chaos for you. Spin, 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 right? So this is what I want to understand. This is why I'm saying a lot of these women they're just presenting themselves as bottom feeders. And I'll tell you why I say that. And I mean, just Trump's wife, she could have done something. Real estate, gambling, casinos. She worked in his business long enough to understand it. So why are women demanding to marry successful men, especially when they're getting high-paying jobs? Then they divorce them, then take half their money. What are they doing with it? So I'm saying women are like bottom feeders. I was told that some Muslims in the US, they refuse to eat bottom feeder animals. And those bottom feeders are like shrimps, crabs, lobsters, snails, catfish. They refuse to eat those animals. Those animals don't hunt for food. They actually eat what drops to the bottom. So a shark eats, catches his game, and whatever fragments and pieces fall to the bottom, those animals eat the bottom. They also eat feces. So a lot of Muslims refuse to eat shrimp because they're at the bottom eating feces. They eat whatever's at the bottom. So I'm saying that since women have had money for more than a century, and they haven't built bridges, skyscrapers, they haven't built Fortune 500 companies, what are they doing? I mean, they surely have the money. There's hands down, they have the money. They've had it for more than a century. They won't even invest in one another. Like, this is recent. Maybe the past 20 years, women started investing in female entrepreneurs. They avoided them. They have the money. Find a great company with females only, a great company that's thriving with only women. Find me one. There are lots of case studies that show women-only companies do not perform as well as male companies. So that means they're not as productive as business, and they're not as productive in business as men. Exactly, spirit of justice. It falls apart. Exactly. Yeah, status. Like, status for what, though, right? Parasites. Feeding off like bloodsuckers, the leeches. I thought about that too. But I called it bottom feeders because when the predators, even like vultures, right? So when the predator comes in, does all the work, does the hunt, the strategic hunt, the kill, they destroy, they rip it apart, there are pieces flying all over the place. And those bottom feeders, that's how they eat, including they eat the feces. So, what kind of animal do you have to be? You won't even go out and hunt. You just sit at the bottom waiting. Or a vulture just flying around waiting. Yeah, to say I have money. Like, for what? Like, what? I mean, I'm not getting this. And, it's too bad we have to have this conversation because I'm sure a lot of women are going to be upset with me, even some of my family members. Hey, Charles, thanks for checking in. Interesting, Walter. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of women hate dealing with other women. So let's just peel down a couple of more layers. I want to read parts of some articles that really demonstrate how this bottom feeder mindset exists. So in the beginning, I said something about divorce as a distraction. It's costing societies, right? So all the statistics show that women are not as productive in business as men. And men, well, we kind of sit back and lie and tell women nice things to make them feel good. So when are we going to tell women that they're killing our global competitive advantage? And they do it in several ways. First, they initiate divorce over 70% of the time. Divorce is a huge mental distraction. And that distraction causes a loss of productivity in the workplace. Right now, it's estimated of $6 billion in lost productivity in corporate America, because at some point, some guy is headed for divorce, in the middle of divorce, or just coming out of one. So he's distracted by that ugly situation called divorce. Second thing, so women, that's the first, women are hurting society. Second is they refuse to put in long hours like men. So men are more productive. Yep. Yeah, interesting, right? Hey, RP, thanks for coming in from across the pond. What's going on? The second one is they refuse to put in long hours. That means it costs more money to hire women than it does for men. Third, women do not handle conflict as well as men. In business, we all know business is filled with conflict. Like, guys can yell and scream and be like, hey man, you're acting like a little pussy. You know, we can get into that. But then when it comes down to what's the best for the company, you know, guys will even, I mean, how many of you guys have had a childhood friend that you had a fight with and then later you're playing? You have beers together. Women don't have that capacity. Their biochemistry doesn't allow it. Yeah, they wanted to keep them from throwing a tantrum. Isn't that something, right? So what is it costing us though, right? The third thing, so women don't handle conflict, and businesses handle this full of conflict. And besides that, conflict is actually one way to stretch and grow in new directions. And when there's conflict, women avoid it. There's also research that shows that women are horrible collaborators when they're faced with conflict. Fourth thing, women are hurting business. You've never seen a woman run by companies that produces breakthroughs. Basically, when you give women the position of CEO in these large companies, they just have status quo for what men, they just maintain what men build. They don't do anything extraordinary like Tom Watson of IBM and Steve Jobs, I think David Neely of JetBlue, like all these innovative and new breakthroughs and different ways of looking at things. You don't see women on the forefront of that, even when they're given the position of CEO. Well, yeah, female empowerment, invading men's space and not giving back value, right? These are problems. So women are not creating great companies. They're just not building them. And when they get the job, they just do status quo. Number 5, women don't take risks like men. Once again, their biochemistry is not designed for risk taking. They avoid, their biochemistry will avoid risks. Why risks? You could fail. You could look bad, right? Women socially don't want to look stupid. Men are more willing to take social risks than women. It also means a risk means uncertainty. You could fail, right? And when you go through uncertainty, there's most likely going to be some level of conflict. And that's another thing that women avoid. So those 5 things can cause the United States to lose its global advantage in business. And men were really kind of standing by and allowing women to simply feed at the bottom and say nothing. And then women brag about what they've acquired. So I want to look at, I don't know what you mean by Michael, not the males of today, not the males of today, what? So I want to look at a couple of cases. There's one right here in Long Island. This article was written in 2005. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to just read a little bit. But the title of the article is 21 Years War, Longest Divorce in State History, in New York history. It has raged for more than 21 years and cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But now New York's War of the Roses, the state's longest and most bitter divorce action, is lurching to an end. Nicholas Purpura, 62, a former partner at Wall Street powerhouse Bear Stearns, which we all know is gone, and his ex-wife, Barbara, have been struggling it out since 1983 in a fight over assets that has spawned thousands of hours of courtroom testimony. The couple have been legally divorced since 1988, but the battle has endured another 17 years. Along the way, Papora versus Papora has gotten so nasty that she sued him for abandonment and he countersued for cruel and inhumane treatment. So this is a 21-year divorce, and she wants his house in Staten Island to be sold. It's worth $2.5 million, 17-room home. But here's the punchline. They married in 1967. The couple grew estranged in the 70s, and on October 5th, 1983, signed an agreement that was designed to provide for her and her two children, now 34 and 31, for life. For 19 months, Papora says he adhered to the terms of the agreement: $3,200 a month in maintenance and child support, while continuing mortgage payments for their former home on Longfellow Avenue and in Tot Hill, also in Tot Hill. But when Papora, now listen to this, this is why I'm saying a bottom feeder. This is the punchline. The punchline is this. When Papora, the husband, made millions from a public offering of Bear Stearns stock, Maida went to court to win a ruling that the 1983 separation document was not legal. Even after the couple's divorce was made official in September 1988, the battle continued. A new round of Papora versus Papora litigation in March 2003 and finally concluded with the order of Papora to sell his home, the husband, his $2.5 million home. But the husband says he's going to fight. So they had a legal separation. He's paying faithfully his $3,200 a month, which the court mandated he pay. And after Bear Stearns went public, the husband, now legally separated, has his agreement by that's, the court mandated. And he comes into millions of dollars, and the wife comes back and wants to sue when they're legally separated and they have no further, nothing. And she's going on this for 21 years. So he does all the work. He put in all the risk. I mean, whatever risks and whatever hard work and 14-hour days he had to put in to become a partner and have stock in Bear Stearns, he did that. He earned those millions, and yet she feels so entitled that 21 years of fighting this and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she's trying to take his money. That's feeding at the bottom. He hunted. He did all the work, and at the bottom, she's just feeding off of him. That doesn't work. Just doesn't work. Here's another. This is a very old article, 1994. So we're talking 26 years. And this one is from not a marriage. This is palimony. So they live together. And this guy starts a company in a palimony awarded to be the largest ever made. An Orange County jury ruled Friday that flashlight mogul Anthony Maglica must pay $84 million to a woman he lived, worked, and shared his name with for more than 20 years, but never married. So this is his girlfriend, who ends up with $84 million. She says the company's worth $200 million, and they live together. She worked with him. She made over $1 million working with him, yet she still wants half. She's trying to get half the value of the company. If the company's valued at $200 million, that doesn't mean he has $200 million. That's the value, like Amazon valued at $90 billion. Doesn't mean he has $90 billion in cash. This is just bottom feeding. Okay, Michael McKay, tell me how a woman assists a guy in getting a deal. Tell me, I want to hear this. How does a woman assist a guy? You maybe you don't understand. Bear Stearns went public. He had stock in the company. How did she assist him? That means for you to get stock like that before it goes public, that means he worked his butt off. He made partner. He put in tons of hours, 12, 14-hour days. He did that. You had a Karen confrontation, huh? Yeah, I hear you, Mike. So, Michael McKay, you say men won't take risks. So, how willing are you to work with men, and either you have the leadership skills to lead, or you're actually able to take direction from someone who does have the leadership skills? So, what does a woman do before marriage that earns her millions of dollars, right? I mean, I want to know, because soon your pet, your dog, is going to be able to say they deserve money in a divorce. He kept the house safe, and that's worth millions of dollars. Should a nanny, and for the more upscale, they call it an au pair. Should a nanny or au pair receive part of your wealth when they get fired, after they're fired? I mean, they really did help. Do they deserve a piece of your success after they're fired? They helped, or they quit. Doesn't matter. They don't work for you anymore. See, if you become wealthy after you fire a nanny, should they be able to claim they helped you become wealthy? Technically, they should be, if a wife can. Even your mother believes she deserves some kind of settlement when you become wealthy. There's an NFL player received a call from his mother the day he was drafted, and she asked him for $1 million. Her son did all the hard work. He pushed his body, and she waits at the bottom to ask for her cut. But I don't understand where women are going with this. What do they hope to accomplish with so many divorces? Are they looking to take the money and build their own civilization? Are they getting back at men in the past? If you despise men, why marry them? Oh, I forgot. You're waiting at the bottom to steal what they worked for. Why? What are you going to do with what you stole? This is like a silent war. In the old days, you invade people and you take their wealth. It's a sign of victory. Women declared a battle of the sexes. Are they taking booty from men? That's what they called it, when you took from the people you conquered. What's the end game? Do they care about the impact on children? When you emotionally traumatize children, that's what happens in divorce. It creates a new culture. And that's what we're looking at. Divorce is at an all-time low right now. Michael, you said... How do I know he did all the work? Because he worked for Bear Stearns. He was qualified to work for them. So you said that she was there to assist him in getting that deal before the separation. How do you know that? Like, why do people make all these assumptions? We just say, oh, she was there. She did. What do you know? What facts do you have? What does that, if a wife is worth $45 billion, if she's worth millions of dollars, then a nanny should be worth also. So should your cook, your maid. Yeah, chaos view. Yep, yep. This is bottom feeding. A guy makes it big and now you want to cash in. And how do I know he did all the work while they were married? Because like I said, he worked at Bear Stearns. You have to become partner and get stock. It means you had to do a lot of work. Oh, wow. The new wife's money factored in. That sounds insane. So what does a woman do that leads to a guy making millions? Or you guys may have already heard about this guy in Canada who got slammed with palimony. He's paying $50,000 a month to a woman he never married, and he's paying that for 10 years. That's $6 million. Now, he was a sucker because he paid all her bills. He took care of her children, paid off her debt. And so I guess she could claim a lifestyle. Yep, yep. Michael, it is dumb to go without a prenup. But the interesting thing is at a lot of these, even though we see the divorces publicized, there's significantly less divorce in the wealthy, in the affluent people. It's only 20%, where the general population is like 50%. Hell, first year marriage of the general population, first year marriages have like a 45% divorce rate. All the blowjobs, right, is worth a lot of money. What does a woman do to be worth millions of dollars as a wife? See, what if you're saying that, Michael, if you're saying that she took care of the home, see, this is what it's going to come down to. If you're wealthy, you just hire a surrogate woman, you have her have your one or two children, you hire a nanny, you hire a maid to cook, and that's it. I mean, they're doing the same job. And if you want sex, you can go hire an escort. You're going to come out a lot cheaper, and you can have a different woman with an escort if you want. So what is it a woman does to add value? Now, there are some women, and it's a very small percentage. Yeah, I don't know how you can say she helped him achieve the deal. I don't get that. There's nothing in the article that says that. Taking care of home doesn't, I don't know how many nannies, how many maids are getting paid millions of dollars to take care of someone's home. That's right. So when a woman is living in your house as your wife and she doesn't have to work because you make a lot of money, she's getting a check. She's living rent free. She doesn't pay for the food, and she gets an allowance. She gets a stipend. She gets a credit card. So a wife gets paid to have children. But what? Yeah, men value money. They take it. It's a war. That's absolutely true. So I like to see a lot of these wives go get a job as a nanny or a maid and see how many millions they will make. Right. They get paid, Charles, just for standing next to the guy. There are lots of guys who work deals and they're single and they still make lots of money. So they do that without a wife. And tell me why it's a dumb comparison. What is it that a wife does that you can't get from a maid, a nanny, and an escort? What is it that she does? Exactly. Women want to get paid to have children, and they want to have children. Now, if they don't want a man, they can just go to a sperm bank. What did you guys hear about the woman who went to a sperm bank and found out who the father was and then sued him for child support? Like, how does that work? How does that work? Or the woman who raped a 13-year-old, whatever, a 15-year-old boy, and when he she got pregnant. When he hit 18, she sued him for child support. Right. He married her. That's a legal binding contract. And so when you have a partner, he didn't hire her. He actually, yes, when you marry someone, you hire them. Just like when you hire a partner in your business, you hire them and they're hired to do a job. If they fail to do their job, if they quit or you fire them, they just leave. There's no settlement. They're out. And a marriage is a legal binding contract. Yeah, that guy, Charles, that guy in Canada, he should be the poster child for what to never do, paying off all the woman's loans and taking care of her and her children. I'm just reading what you're saying, Mike. What does a woman do that you can't get out of an escort, nanny, and a maid? You just have those three. You hire them. What is it a woman that does that is more than those three? And what is that going to cost you? Right, right. Alimony didn't exist. I'm not sure if that's until no fault. I don't know. I don't know if that's a fact or not. Sure, you fire your wife. That's what divorce is for. You fire her because she failed to produce the results, or she resigns. She resigns from the job. So you all need to understand, marriage is not some love thing that you see in Walt Disney. It's a legal binding contract. It's a contract. It's legal. It's no different than a legal binding contract that you get in business. And it's such a enforceable contract that only a judge can dissolve it. A presiding judge. You can't just get out of it. Okay, technically it came in play in 68, no fault divorce, but it probably picked up steam in 1970. What value do women bring? I think most women do not know how to bring value to a relationship. And most guys don't know what that looks like. Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's push those likes up. Exactly. Exactly, Gary. She went for the ride and enjoyed it all. She wasn't starving. She was living in a great life. The guy worked at Bear Stearns. And the other guy he had a flashlight company, and he had that woman sign document saying that the company was 100% his. She agreed to that. And then she lied to the courts and said they had some kind of verbal agreement, which was a lie. See, you're always hiring someone, right? So when you go to school, you hire the teacher. The teacher's job is for you to have success. And if the teacher fails, there's a chance you won't have success. And your parents, even though you as the student, when you're young, you're the customer, but your parents are the ones, are stakeholders, and they're the ones who will hold the teachers accountable to make sure you have success. When you bring a woman into your life, you're hiring her, you're inviting her into your life, and there's some service she has to provide. She's not there for a free ride. She's not there to just stand there and look at the walls and open her legs when she feels like it. Marriage is a contract. It's a legal, binding contract. Yep, Blackroot, it's a business. Michael, I don't think you understand. In corporate America, a lot of times they really demand that you be married. So when I was running companies, I was asked constantly, when are you going to get married? I mean, they said, hey man, you know, you'll have better you'll be tax wise, you'll have better breaks. But they believe that if a man is married, he's going to be more stable. He's less likely to do foolish things, you know, staying out late, doing drugs. He's going to be more responsible. Just like the insurance companies look at you the same way. So your insurance, your car insurance is lower when you're married. So a lot of guys get married because that's part of what's expected. You know, there are even some YouTubers who are out there, they're pushing that. Except what most people never discuss is what it takes for a woman to be valuable. There's a small percentage of women that are actually valuable in marriage, and they earn their keep. If it's just pussy, you can buy that. That's all over the place. No, value, Michael, means that she's bringing something, she's an asset. So when you have a balance sheet, you have assets and liabilities. Technically, a corporation classifies employees as liabilities because they're paying expenses. A wife is a liability. Your children are a liability. Cost it from birth to age 18, it costs $250,000 to raise a child on average. That's the average. That's a liability. There's no return for that. So when your wife is there consuming food and electricity, automobile, needing a house big enough to support her and the children, she's a liability because she's not bringing a return on that unless you have a wife who knows how to do that. So value is not something that's subjective. Right, RP, you can do all those things, cook and clean. You don't need a woman for that. Most men can cook, and if you have money, you don't even need to cook. There are all kinds. There are restaurants, there are prepackaged meals, so you don't even need to cook. You don't need a wife for cooking. You can pay someone for that. I don't know where you're seeing a man who can't deal with his children. Maybe you're one of those guys. There are lots of women who don't deal with their children. When they are deficient in a neurochemical called oxytocin, some of those women end up killing their children or abandoning them. Value is not subjective. Sorry. Value of a Rolls Royce is not subjective. It's either you can afford it or you can't. And the quality of a Rolls Royce is built into it. You know that when you buy it. Hey, Khaled. Yep. Thanks. Exactly. But see, that's the whole point. They divorce, right? So that just bottom feeding. You let the guy do all the work, and you want to grab what you can you're just sitting at the bottom, waiting for him to do the work. Exactly, Charles. Right. She just doesn't feel it. I don't feel good anymore, and I want half. I'm reading your words exactly as you write them. Michael's one of my fans. He likes to follow me. Yep, Skip, their liability. Yeah, I get it, Michael. Eating out all the time is not healthy, even in upscale restaurants. But there are plenty of home cooked meal services out there. You can hire a maid. You can hire someone to cook. Like there are so many solutions to that. You don't need a wife for that. And there are a lot of mothers who purposely don't teach their daughters to cook, so they can't even cook. I have a someone very close to me proposed to his wife. She was in Columbia Law School, and they talked about how they're going to raise children and how many, and she would be the one to be the caregiver to cook. And she said her mother didn't teach her how to cook, and she's not doing it. So he said the wedding's off until you learn how to cook. So she had to go to his mother's house for, I think it was 30 days or more, every day, and his mother taught her how to cook. And once she learned how to cook and agreed that this is the way it's going down, he married her. And they had a great marriage. They're still together. When they had children, she would not work in a law firm because the law firm is going to demand 14-hour days. So she worked in general counsel where she could do 9 to 5 in a bank or in some other industry. But she understood that at 5 o'clock, she had to get off and she had to come home and take care of the children. She did that. But there are some women who are raised to not do that. And she's one of them. There are plenty of them out there like that. So, Michael, tell me what value a woman could bring. Help ain't lost, huh, Khalid? Thanks for that. Hey, Luke. What's going on? Thanks for joining. Women know their worth here, right? Yeah, Chase, right. You had to teach her to cook. Exactly. He says he's a single father, so apparently it didn't work for him either. No, there are lots of women who were raised to not cook. A lot. So, Michael, what is the number one thing a woman can do to bring value to a man's life, to be an asset? Let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get them up. Let's get them up. Let's get the likes up. What is the number one thing that if a woman did it, no matter what man she was married to, it would be valuable? Hey, you know what? Skip, that's what I was thinking before because he follows me in Facebook. I thought he was a woman, but he's actually a man. He claims to have been raised by both parents. Michael, what is the number one thing that if a woman brought to the relationship, it would be valuable? Well, ARP, he's doomed. He ends up being a single father. The woman left him. She didn't even want to be with his ass. Michael, it's a dumbass question for someone who cannot answer it. There are men who understand that. Look, there are guys who are worth millions. And these guys who are worth millions, they are single. They did this without a woman. And they pay a search firm. They pay this search firm to find them a woman who's valuable. And sometimes they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a matchmaking firm to find them a suitable wife. And there's something that they're looking for that's valuable across the board to any man. I just think you're funny. Someone said you were a woman, and I was explaining to him that you're not. I was actually defending you as a man. But the funny thing is, you are a single father for a reason. And based on your replies here, there's a good reason for that. Women don't like men who bend over and take it in the back. They don't like that. They leave dudes like that. What is the number one thing? See, when these guys pay for a matchmaking service, they are looking for something from a woman. They are looking for women who come from certain kinds of families. Yeah, he had to pay $45 billion, Khalid. Jeff Bezos. So what is it, Michael, that wealthy men look for when they hire a matchmaking service? What are they looking for? They pay them, and this is consistent every time. They're looking for a woman who brings certain value to the table. What is that? Yeah. That there's a good chance he's defending his mother. You can see me, so if I was triggered, you would see it. I never said I disagree with you. You have a right to say what you want. I'm asking you, what is it when wealthy men hire a matchmaking service? Yeah, PJ. Exactly, producer, for real. They've played themselves. They played it too far, way too far. Yeah, Khalid, that's definitely an expectation, beauty, right? Empathy. But there's something that when a wealthy man pays a matchmaking, he pays a lot of money. He's looking for a woman that's going to be, yep, PJ nailed it. Exactly, PJ. Not just her contacts, her family's contacts. He's looking for a woman who comes from a certain family who can open certain doors for him. Because he's a wealthy guy is not going to marry a woman just because she has a nice ass and nice tits. He's willing to pay $100,000 or more, hundreds of thousands, for a matchmaker to find him a woman from a certain family that can open doors. And that is value that she brings. You see, if a woman when he marries a woman like that, she works for him. And that's what a lot of guys don't understand. Your woman works for you. You don't need her going to work making $100,000, $200,000. She can do way more value for you if she goes out and builds a network. First network is her family's. Exactly, Chaos View. I don't think he understands the word triggered. Because if I was triggered, I'd be acting like this. So the woman who actually has value, this is not subjective. I've seen guys married to women who brought value, and those women went out and networked. They were soccer moms. I watched. I worked for this consulting firm, Skip, and interesting, PJ. Right. I worked for a consulting firm, and I watched the president of our firm get his biggest account because his wife met a soccer mom who is married to some dude who built a serious corporation in the financial industry. I mean, so serious that some said it was a threat to the New York Stock Exchange for trading stocks. So this guy, my boss's wife, made this connection through soccer practice with her son, taking her son to soccer practice. And she invited the couple for dinner. The wife made a great dinner. She was a gracious hostess. The husband sat down, smoked cigars, closed the deal, and we're talking tons of money. Initially, hundreds of thousands. Long term, it turned into millions because he was given access to some other things. So in that case, Mike, in that case, that is where a woman helped make a deal happen. And there, she's worth it. Exactly, Skip. Yep. He claims to have both parents, so he doesn't present himself that way. So when you say who taught me that dumb shit, Michael, what is the dumb shit that you're talking about? What exactly? So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? So what do you think of a woman who comes into your life and intentionally plugs you into her network? She has a network from her mother, a different network from her father. She has a network that she developed growing up. And I don't care if you're a mechanic and she actually brings clients. She speaks to other women and makes sure those women and their husbands bring their cars. You guys going crazy. I never said I don't like what you said. Michael, so what do you guys think of a woman who actually work? What do you guys think of telling a woman you work for me and get your ass out there and network? Not putting her on the street as a prostitute. Don't make her a whore. If she goes out there and networks and brings back clients, or she meets, if you have a business, clients, potential employees, vendors with preferential treatment, office space, like she's meeting people that can support you in growing your business. What do you guys think of that being her job? And she works for you. That's how she earns her keep to eat. She earns her keep to get a stipend. Like she can be a stay-at-home. Or if you don't have a business and you have a job, she's networking and she meets other women who can actually get you a higher paying job. What do you think of that? So lucky Leo, you think it's hard to find a woman like that? So why do you think it's hard to find a woman like that, lucky Leo? Culture. Okay. Well, hey, Charles, if she works for the estate, what do you mean? Are you saying it in the same context I'm saying? Yeah, Skip, exactly. A beta daddy, right? He just sat there in his chair in the corner. Yeah, produced for real. That's the marriage was actually right, so that the children could legally inherit the legacy you left behind. Except if you're in a legal binding contract, what role is the wife playing to ensure that you can actually build your legacy? See, if she works for the estate, Charles, what's her role? What's her job? See, there's something that happens if so. I've said this before. I don't think I said it live. A woman values her network more than she values her own body. A woman will go out and have a one night stand with a bunch of guys. Except whoever she has that one night stand with, she will not plug into her network, especially the one she inherited from her parents. If she has a valuable network, she's not bringing a one night stand to meet them. She's just not. She doesn't know you well enough. And it's a risk because if she doesn't know you well enough and she plugs you into her network and you do crazy things, you turn out to be a con artist, you're out of control, she loses access to her social network. She's now alienated. So if a woman plugs you into her network, she's got to have a hell of a lot of confidence, trust, believe in you, and know that you are going to do smart things with the network. You're going to create opportunities, right? So she can still be hypergamous, right? So she has a valuable network and she may not be willing to take the risks to capitalize on her own network. If she meets a man who she thinks is a good businessman, that man would know how to do that. Right, exactly, Charles. Right. She's not expected. But right, and that's why that's being a bottom feeder, right? She gets the benefit as she leaves. She just exits and goes to the bottom. She's just like a low life, and she expects to be given half of what's there. Well, if you plug a woman into your network, that's what's wrong with that. But a lot of women want to be able to stay home and raise the children at some point. They just do. And it's in the best interest of the children. Your mother's a source of food, not the father. But if a woman is not plugging you into a network, if she's not out there, she's not working for you. She's entitled. That's a whole problem. That means you're just working. Well, see, here's the deal. If she values her network more than her body, once she plugs you into her network, she can't be fucking around with you. She's more likely to take care of you so that she doesn't embarrass herself and you in front of her network. So here's the best situation to meet a woman. And I actually have clients, third generation. Grandfather started a company. He had a son and daughter. The daughter married some guy who was really savvy in business, and that now the son-in-law ran the business, had two sons, and the sons are running. So the ideal situation is to meet a woman whose father has a significant company, and you become the successor. You come in behind your father-in-law and take his company to the next level. That's the ideal woman to meet. They're out there, but they're looking for a different guy. They're not hanging out looking for the thug dude, the bad boy who's just going to do damage. He won't know how to run that company. The father won't even approve of that. Yeah, that's Oliver T. That's well said, right? So that women are trained and indoctrinated, right? To show I tamed this guy. Yep. Arranged marriages existed exactly for that's exactly right. Whether it's a business, a kingdom, uh, I have 5 acres, you have 5 acres. Our children get married, they have 10, and then they marry someone with 10, and now they have 20. And over time, that's how you built wealth over time. And yes, it works. Arranged marriages has like some outrageously low divorce rate. So if you married a woman and you become the successor to her father's company, divorce is not so easy. So that you all actually even end up having support from the parents who want to see this work. So Michael, you haven't responded to what I'm saying. Let's get the lights up, guys. Get them up. Let's get the lights up. Interesting. Ali the conservative tranny. So Ali, are you saying that you were born a woman and you're now a man? Is that what you're saying? Are you saying that now that you present yourself as a man to the world, women don't care, they just want to know how much you make? Okay. So has that been a rude awakening for you, to see how women are? Yeah, RP, yeah, it is getting crazy there. So so Michael Mackey, here's a person born a woman, went through a transition to become a man, is now presented as a guy, and sees a perspective of women that perhaps wasn't seen before, maybe taken for granted. But is saying that now presented as a man, that women just want to know what's in it for me. How much do you make? I'm not making this up. This is in the chat. Ali the conservative tranny. Oh, you were born male to a female. You were born male. Okay, that's what I was trying to understand. So now you're a woman. Okay, so now you present yourself as a woman. Okay. That's why I asked in the beginning. I wanted to have that straight. I reversed it. So you're saying that, so what are you saying? You hear conversations from other women that you didn't hear before? That's what I'm not sure about. Okay. And so are you saying now that you present yourself as a woman, you have access to conversations you didn't have access to before? Okay. And are you saying that a lot of women don't care about the man, they just care about his assets, his money, the financial situation? So tell us something that guys won't hear. They're looking for better with both. What do you mean with both? Looking for better? I don't understand. Okay. So, okay, social position, right? Socioeconomic class, money, uh, and then what? Go cheat with another guy just for good sex? Okay. So are you saying that a lot of women, are you willing to come on and talk live with me? If I drop a link in the chat? Okay. If you click on that link, I'll let you into the chat. Hey, Michael, click on the link. I want you to come in also. Come on in, Michael. I'm opening up the chat. Click on it. The link is there. Come on down. Let's do it, Michael. The link is right there. Come on in. The link is right there. Come on in.
I look like hell. I was getting ready to go out, so.
All right. Ali, you're Ali the conservative tranny. Born a man. Link is right there. Come on in.
I look like hell. I was getting ready to go out, so.
How are you? Thanks for coming in here. Ali, you're Ali the conservative tranny. Born a man. Link is right there. Come on in.
I look like hell. I was getting ready to go out, so.
How are you? Thanks for coming in here. Ali, you're Ali the conservative tranny. Born a man. Link is right there. Come on in. Ali, you have to turn your computer down. It's too much feedback.
Okay, 1 second.
You have to turn your computer down. It's too much feedback.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, 1 second. How's that?
I think that's better.
Is that better? 1 second.
It is. It is. So what are you saying that?
How's that?
I think that's better.
Is that better? 1 second.
It is. It is. So what are you saying that? We're getting some feedback here. I think that's better.
Is that better? Oh my gosh. Let me redo this.
All right. Yeah, you're getting. Michael, can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Perfect, man. Perfect.
All right. Yes.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Ali, can you? Mike, are you still there, Ali?
Yep, I'm here.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Perfect, man. Perfect. All right. I'm getting too much feedback. Maybe you have to use a phone or something. So, Mackie, what is it you want to say to me?
I'm in the discussion. What I was saying earlier about the value of a woman is that will be subjective. It would depend on what that man needs in his life. If that man is weak-minded and he don't know how to cook, then a woman that knows how to cook is going to be of value to him. If he doesn't know how to clean, she's going to be of value to him. Now, there are a lot of black males out there who don't know how to cook and clean. It ain't got nothing to do with who I surround myself with, as you so eloquently tried to say earlier. But there are a lot of males out here who are basically depending on black women who can't cook, who can't clean. So what her value will be to him will be subjective. I don't need a black woman to cook for me. I don't need a woman to clean for me. So when a woman comes in my life, her value will be different than, let's say, the dude next door who don't cook, who don't clean. So whatever her value is, it will be subjective and it will vary from male to male. The value of a woman won't be the same for every man she feels she deserves to be with. So you sitting there saying it, asking that question like the value of a woman should be the same for every man is retarded.
So here's what I said. If you want
I heard what you said. We all heard what you said. You said it is not subjective. And it is subjective.
Here's what I said.
Because it varies from man to man.
Listen,
I don't need a woman to
to
cook
you
for me,
silence,
but that
man.
dude next door needs a woman to cook for him.
So here's what I'm saying. If a woman,
it varies from man to man.
You can hire a maid and a nanny for that. You don't need to marry a woman for that. And if it's just for having a baby, you're on mute. So if it's just having a baby, you can hire a surrogate for that. If you want sex, you can just hire an escort. You don't need any of that.
Feedback, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Hold on.
You shouldn't be getting feedback at all.
See, I hear you and you're not talking.
Okay. So I'm speaking now.
You hear that?
All right, that's on your end. It's clear on my end.
Oh, do I have you open twice?
Here's what I'm saying is that if you only need a woman for cooking, cleaning, you can hire someone to do that. You can hire a maid. If you have children, you can hire a nanny. If you want a woman to have a baby for you, you can hire a surrogate. She has the children and she's legally gone. You can.
But that's not traditional.
But no. Traditional is a whole nother bag. You know.
No, that's what we're talking about right now. We're talking about traditional marriages and why people get married.
If that's what you have her for, you can hire someone to do the job, and she's gone. Because
nobody want to pay money to somebody to cook for them all the time. Man, who the fuck does that shit?
You see, if you marry, it's a liability.
Don't nobody hire nobody to cook for them but people with money. Who the fuck pays somebody to cook for them every day? I don't. I cook for myself. I clean for myself, but all black men don't.
Well, that's actually incorrect because
No, that is correct. All black men do not cook and clean for themselves.
Have you ever gone to a restaurant?
What kind of dumbass question is that? Yes.
Then that means you paid someone to cook for you.
That's at a restaurant, not in my house. I don't eat out every time. You go to a restaurant once a month. Oh, that's a dumb comparison because if I go to a restaurant once a month, that's the same as having somebody in my house cooking every night.
Hey, look, if you can only afford once a month, that's your socioeconomic
No,
class.
that's not saying I can only afford it. You go with that slick ass, slide dumb shit. I didn't say that's because what I can afford. Some people just don't go out all the time and eat out. I cook. I'm from the South. I know how to cook. So spending money to eat out all the time is not something I rush to do. So saying that somebody can get someone to cook for them every day is retarded, unless you got the money to do so.
Well, see, it's actually smarter to do that because you don't risk half of your asset. You don't risk anything. You don't risk child support. You don't risk alimony.
I mean, if you're talking about from the financial aspect that's smarter to do, then that's dumb because you should just get a fucking prenup.
And some of those prenups get thrown out.
No, that's some, not all. It's very rare that a prenup gets thrown out. But if a motherfucker wants to keep his money and his funds and not have taken away, as soon as he get married, he should get a prenup. It's that simple.
Okay.
It's not hard to get a prenup.
Donald Trump had a prenup with his wife.
Fuck Donald Trump. He don't think right.
She contested it.
He don't think right, man. Fuck Donald Trump. He's a crooked motherfucker. Fuck Trump. That's a dumbass comparison.
What? He had a prenup, and he paid someone.
Fuck Trump. Name 10 prenups that were thrown out. Off the top of your head, since you're talking like it happens so common.
It happens.
No, you said it happens so common. Name 10.
I read an article.
No, not one article. Name 10. You're talking like it happens so common that getting a prenup is dumb.
It does happen often.
No, it does not, bruh. That's a lie.
Do you know why I know? Why I know? Because I've spoken to a divorce attorney.
Man, I've spoken to people too. So don't give me that I've spoken to people. You're not the only guy who speaks to people.
I speak to divorce attorneys. They say those short prenups.
Oh my God.
Look at what Dr.
Hey,
Dre
look,
is
man,
going
I'm not gonna sit on here and create a lie just to prove my stance. But my point was, females, the value of a woman in a man's life will vary from man to man. It's not the same for every man. So to talk as if a female should have the same value for every man, that's just a man who don't know fucking women. Like, that's the bottom line. You're sitting there saying a woman doesn't have value for a man, period, and that he should just pay somebody to cook and clean. That's stupid. What kind of divisive shit is that?
I said most women don't have value, and I gave you a great example.
Nah, most women have value. It depends on the man they get with, what their value gonna be.
Okay, so when I'm talking, I'm not going to compete with you. If you speak over me, I just keep putting you on mute like you are now. So I said some women create value, and the way they create value is being a return on that man's investment. And his first investment is time. So if she's in a house and she's not out building a network that will enhance and enrich his life, then cooking and cleaning, it's cheaper to pay someone because over 70% of divorces are initiated by women. So that means the odds are against you for a woman to divorce you and put you in a bad situation.
He might not need for her to go out and network. Why would he want her to go out and network for him if he don't need her to?
Because that is how all these guys who've been extremely successful, it's because their wives are out in the background connecting dots.
That's a lie, bro. A lot of the motherfuckers were successful before they got with their wives. Come up with
No. a lot of these guys, I actually watched quite a few guys who are successful because their wives, they're soccer moms, they go to the country club. These women, even the guy who's just an average dude with a mechanic shop, his wife is at church networking with the other women and making sure that those women are telling their husbands to bring their car to his mechanic shop. This happens way more than you. It doesn't happen a lot. There's a small percentage of women who think like that. That's being an asset. That's earning.
If she needs it. If he has a business that he wants people to come to, then yes, I would want my woman to go out there and tell people about my business. That's common sense, bro.
No, no. I'm not talking about telling people.
That should be common sense.
No,
if she's going out telling people, I don't want to say nothing, and you put me on mute. So ain't nobody hear what I'm saying, because I know this is your podcast and you do stuff like that. But if I have a business, if he has a business and she's going to church telling the women at the church to go by his business, that should be done. That's common sense. Okay. But if he doesn't have a business, he's just a hard-working fucking man, and he worked hard and built his castle, his home, bought his cars, his land, and all of that prior to meeting her, then her value to him won't be the same as it would be to that dude that has a business that needs her to go out and network for him. So stop talking as if all women should have the same value, bro. That's not correct.
Well, here's why. If your wife is out networking and you have a job, that is how cats get better paying jobs. That's how they move up in corporations, because your wife has met some other guy who she's met a woman who's married to a successful guy, or she's met a woman who's married to a guy who's a manager somewhere who can hire you.
That's if he needs a job. If he needs a better job,
I didn't say he needs
yes,
a job.
she should do that. But I don't. Since you like talking about,
now you're interrupting me personally. I'm quiet when you speak. So if you're working, you have a job, you're doing fine. One of the ways a lot of guys move up in the world is because the wife has made connections that move you up in the world.
If he needs to be moved up,
why wouldn't he want to be moved up?
I mean, like, for example, since you like talking about me personally, just because you disagree with me, my job, if I had a wife, going out and networking wouldn't help me. I work for the federal government. So her going to network out there at her at the barbershop or the beauty salon doesn't help my career. My career, it progresses because of my actions and my knowledge. She can't help my career. So to think that every woman should be out there networking to help their man go up, that's incorrect, bro. That depends on what he needs. If he needs for her to do that, then she should. But if he doesn't, then her value is going to be different. I don't need a woman to go out there and to the beauty salons and to the park and talk me and network me to get a better federal position. That'll be based on my actions, my appraisals, and my job performance. That's how you get GS 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You don't get it by your wife out there networking for you. So that's totally incorrect.
Have you ever heard of politics?
Man, yes, I've heard of politics. I work here in the DC area, bro. I know about politics.
Yeah, I lived in DC 14 years. I understand.
Good. Yes, I know politics.
Okay. Politics happens based on your network. There are a bunch of guys who are not really good, and they move up because of their wife's network, their network, and they're not even the best. See, in a lot of ways,
they're not really good.
I listen to you in silence. Whether it's a corporation or the government or a university, the school system, people often move up not because they are the best. The best people usually don't even get recognized. It's that network. When your wife has a network and she's inviting some dude in another company or in another division over him, the wife and husband over, and she's a gracious hostess, and the husband sits down with that dude, business gets done. Deals,
if that's what he needs.
Deals get done where no one can see it. And that
he needs that deal done.
Now, since if you want to say people who don't move up in the world don't understand that, and they miss that.
That's if he needs that, then yes, it should be done, bro. But what I'm saying is, her value won't be the same. If a man doesn't need for her to do that, then she don't need to do it.
Well, that guy will end up being a single father because he doesn't understand what it means to move up in the world.
That's a lie, bro. And taking crackpot shots at me like that just because you disagree is hoism.
Okay, I'm a hoe.
But every man does not need a woman to help him move up. He can get that shit on his own. You enabling males to think that they got to get a female. And when you get a female, she's got to help you network to move up. I don't need a woman to help me move up. And I've been successful all my life and still progressing without a woman networking.
Do you know that the average millionaire was not born into success?
That ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. That ain't got nothing to do with what I said.
Wives who actually know how to support them.
It ain't got nothing to do with what I said.
Well, I understand some people are not good at connecting dots, and that's okay.
Yeah, I know. And clearly you aren't, because you're going off to a subject that I ain't say nothing about. This ain't about millionaires. Every common man out here not a millionaire, bro. There are very common males out here working at Food Line, Petco, shit like that, trying to move up. And you're saying that they have to get a woman and lean on her to get them to progress in life. That's the only way they're going to progress in life.
Hey, I'm just Nelly Nell, exactly. What man doesn't want to move up and advance in the world?
I didn't say a man doesn't want to move up. I didn't say a man doesn't want to move up. Did I say a man doesn't want to move up?
Depending on a government job.
Did I say a man doesn't want to move up, though? Did I say that? I said if he needs her to help him move up, then that's her value. If he doesn't, then her value won't be that. So all you other hoes out there that can't read or listen, stay out the discussion. I didn't say he didn't need that.
Okay.
I didn't say he didn't want to move up.
For where you are in life, I got it. You have a government job, you're good at what you do, and you don't need anyone to support.
And even if I wasn't a government job, an NFL player don't need a woman to network for him. An NBA, it's a lot of jobs out here that you don't need a woman to network for you. And just because you don't want a woman to network for you does not mean you don't want to move up in life. That's whoever said that was a dumbass.
I'm a dumbass. I'll take credit.
No, I'm talking about whoever said what man doesn't want. I didn't say a man doesn't want to move up. That was stupid to say. Every man wants to move up, but how they move up is different. It's going to vary from person to person. It's not going to be the same. And every woman not going to play the same fucking role. That's common sense.
I'm sorry, RP just made me laugh.
Well, RP can say a lot of things online. We know a lot of men like to say a lot of stuff online. Then when they meet you face to face, they hoe up. But my point is, every woman does not have the same value for every man. And he shouldn't have to lean on her to network and progress. And just because he doesn't lean on her does not mean he doesn't want to progress in life. It just means he don't need her.
Marriage is a legal binding contract. And in a legal binding contract, there are roles. It's the institute of marriage. And if you don't, it's like any other business contract. If you don't have people in that contract serving some role that brings value, and if you can bring value, if cooking and cleaning is it, there are cheaper ways to do that than marrying someone.
I mean, that's to you. To you and to somebody with money, that might be a cheaper way to doing it. But the common average dude out here in the streets working might not see it that way, bro.
And
that doesn't mean they're wrong.
That's why I'm letting them know from a cost benefit analysis, it's cheaper unless the woman is actually bringing some real return. But
you're contradicting yourself, because you're saying that if he marries her, she's doing some work that's going to help him move up in life. But if they get a divorce, she shouldn't get half. If he's married to her and she's doing exactly what you're saying she's doing, networking for him, bringing business to him, and he blows up, then why shouldn't she get half after the divorce?
That's different. She's valuable.
No, that's not different. That's exactly what you just said. You just said if he's married and the woman puts in work and does stuff that he needs. It might not be the same thing you think every man needs,
but
she might be doing things that he needs to help him move up in life.
All right.
When they get that divorce, she gonna get half. That's
right,
common sense, bro.
I got it. But if getting half for cooking and cleaning is where I'm saying that's.
I mean, that ain't nobody getting half only for cooking and cleaning. A motherfucker with millions of dollars, man, it's a lot that goes on. I mean, the fact that a lot of black men on your podcast don't know what women do in the household while married to a man, that's hilarious. And then to not understand that her role in a marriage will vary from relationship to relationship, what she's going to be doing is going to be different, is also hilarious, especially for niggas not to know that.
All right, I got you. Ali, Ali, what are your thoughts about this conversation we're having?
Well, I could say I was married to a woman before, okay, for 13 years. A German woman, very difficult to deal with. Take my advice on that.
Oh my God, German women.
Okay, all right. So we essentially switched roles before I ever got to this point. And she used to tell me how hard it was to run a house. And I had it down to a fine-tuned musical instrument. Everything worked perfectly as it was. And then when she would tell me how tough it was, I was like, I'm done by 11 o'clock in the morning, except picking the kids up. Other than that, I don't know how hard it is to do this, you know? So I have a different concept of this. I think a lot of the women, when they do stuff, they don't finish the task they start. They want to multitask, and that doesn't get things done. And I think that women should support their husbands or their boyfriends to go higher. But I think most of them actually don't want them to go higher, because then they may become more, they'll be chased more by other women the higher they go in the food chain. You see what I'm saying? So if it's like the fat guy that wins the lottery, couldn't get a girl before, and now he's got like 3.
Who thinks that way?
A lot of women think that way. I hear this stuff all the time from women. There's certain things you will never hear as a man from women. I can tell you right now. They will never tell you to your face, and they will never be honest.
I mean, males and females got secrets. There's a lot of things that males won't share with women. There's a lot of things women won't share with men. And you and the women that you hang around is not a representation of all women. So yes, I'm sure they might be saying some undercurrent things around you because now you're a woman, or you're a woman.
That's fine. I'm not bothered by it.
Okay, I just don't want to say the wrong thing, man.
I'm not.
I don't like disrespecting the transgender folks, man.
I'm good.
But putting out there that all women have no value in a marriage other than cooking and cleaning. He keeps saying I'm a single father. Let me use that as an example. Yes, I am a single parent. And like you, I took care of my kids by myself. And after a while, I didn't see what was so fucking hard about cooking, cleaning, making sure my kids got their clothes on, up early in the morning, got their clothes on, make sure their homework got done, all that good stuff that's done in the household. I didn't see it as hard. But everybody not me, everybody not you, everybody not Ted. That's just like in class. A math problem to one kid might be harder. That same math problem might be easy to a different child. So for me to say, oh, this shit ain't hard, all women should be able to do it, I can't say that. I can't say that because it depends on that female. I can do it with no problem. I know how to cook, clean by myself. I took care of my kids, one in college, one in the Coast Guard, the other one getting ready to go to college. So I take care of mine. I don't see what's so hard about it. But when I hear other women talk about, oh, it's so hard in the home, I laugh, but I'm not in their home. I don't know what else they got to do, what extra shit they got to do, and how unorganized she may be. It's a lot of variables that go into that. So I'm not defending women on this. I don't see how hard it is to take care of home. I understand what Ted is trying to hint to. It ain't just about the cooking and cleaning though. If he's a millionaire and he got a woman sitting at the house then he needs to get a fucking prenup. It's that damn simple.
That's so true.
That's a dumbass if he got millions already. But if he's with a woman and he's building with her, and he's handling federal while she's handling state, because that's what I would tell a woman, hey, I got federal, you handle state. She's still gonna get that half if they get a divorce.
Or more.
Because she handles state, so he wouldn't have to. Even though he could, she handled it. So she deserves that half. But if she was just a lazy woman, and he was a millionaire, and she didn't do shit for him and she gets half, he the dummy, he the simp, he the stupid ass for not getting a prenup and making arrangements prior to, if that's how he wanted her to be.
Unfortunately, I think most men, they don't look at it that way, because I know I'm in a, I would say, medium income community, small town, we'll say 32,000 people. That's half the county right there.
That's small.
And generally, the courts just rail men. They don't even care if they go to jail around here. You know what I'm saying? This is Washington State. They are hard on men here. And they will put your ass in jail in like 2 seconds and not even blink an eye. And a lot of the times, I've talked with lawyers before, because my ex is a doctor, and a lot of my friends in the past were lawyers. And they would say to the woman when she sits down at the divorce lawyer, this is what we can get you. That's the first thing they say. They don't say maybe, you know, this, something fair. They're like, we'll get you the kids, we'll get you this much money, we'll get you alimony, and that's what we can get you right now. And then all of a sudden, she's already made her mind up that she's going to divorce you, because the lawyer has thrown out a ton of ideas and money. And then we haven't even talked about people lying and making up false charges and all the rest of the things that happen. And I don't think that the majority of courts will look at an agreement between you two, because I think that they overvalue what she does. I'm not saying that it's not important, but I think it's overvalued to a point, because traditionally, go back 100 years, women wash clothes by hand. Now they throw it in a machine with some soap and they leave it alone. It's not like they're outside doing that stuff. Labor for women has become easy over the last 50 to 100 years. They don't work hard like they used to. So I don't really see that, but it's really bad, because these women are, like, for me, my ex found another doctor, right? Started cheating with the doctor, and actually even brought his fucking underwear home and put it in her drawer. I'm not making that shit up. I'm telling you, man.
I would have to say it depends on the area, because I'm an ex-vet. I'm a military man, Army. And while in Korea, I did congressionals. I did congressionals for the 2nd Infantry Division. And a congressional is basically a complaint when somebody can't get an issue resolved. They contact their congressman, and the congressman gets involved. Well, congressmen have to get involved a lot as far as military, because there are a lot of deadbeat guys in the Army who don't set up allotments like they're supposed to and take care of their kids. So when you get a congressional and it comes down, you'd be surprised at how many men out here try to skip taking care of their seeds, try to skip not paying for their seeds, to the point where a woman has to go through a damn congressman to get them to do what they're supposed to do. So I understand what you're saying as far as the courts. The courts is a money hole. It's a money pit. Anytime something goes to the courts, it's all about money. It's not about right or wrong. It's about money. I was on the other end at first. I paid child support first. Okay. But then a wise man talked to me, and I got my dollars together, and I went and got custody of my kids, and I raised them myself. So I don't see any excuses out here. There's bad men, there's bad women, there's cheating men, there's cheating women. If a man has money and he's with a woman with no value in his life, then he's a dummy, 1, for getting with her, 2, for not filing a prenup. Every woman's value to a man will not be the same in life. A woman coming to me right now talking about, well, I'll cook and clean for you, she's gonna fail. I don't need that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if she comes to me with something else that I might need, or I feel like I'm missing, or maybe I don't even know missing in my life, that's value. What value is dependent. It ain't always about money. What's valuable ain't always. Ted talks about money. I don't think Ted is the family human being type, because to him, money is happiness. But what's valuable to a man ain't always about money. And what she does that's valuable to him in a marriage ain't always about money. And a lot of people need to understand that. I'm not defending women, but I do know all of them value ain't gonna be the same.
So there are a few things. So 38% of marriages are sexless. That's on one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, couples that have sex 4 times a week or more earn higher incomes and have much happier and better marriages, right? So there are a lot of women withholding sex out there, right? And if sex is one of the things a woman is bringing, and she's denying her man, or she's rationing it, she's not as valuable because she's now becoming a distraction. And if her value is predicated on cooking and cleaning,
she might inspire him. She might speak words. She might encourage him when she talks to him.
I listened to you in dead silence, man. I let you speak for 5 minutes.
You were just quiet. I didn't know you were finishing.
I was quiet and I let you speak. So all I'm saying is the most valuable thing a woman can do is to do things that literally enrich your life. So when I talk about sex 4 times a week, right? These are things that build intimacy, that enriches your relationship with the woman, between the two of you. And it has nothing to do with cooking and cleaning. Sex has benefits, but with 38% of marriages being sexless, that's a problem, right? So there's something women are thinking about relationships and marriage that don't always have the man's best interest. So, and Ali, you can say Ali is just around certain kinds of people, except 38% of marriages being sexless is saying that something isn't going in the man's best interest, right? And she may be cooking and cleaning and thinking that that's all she needs to do and say, well, I'm traditional, but there's no other value. So I'm looking at what are the greatest values a woman can bring that can make your life easier, enrich it. And it may be money, right? But it's if you have to work not as hard to move up the ladder or find better positions, and your wife supports that, she's making your life easier.
I can tell you right now, I have delved into dating men, right? And the majority of men that I dated or went out with were married. And you know what? Their wives would do nothing for years. These men hadn't had anything for years, literally because their wives had turned the faucet off. Like I would say 5 or 10 years, sometimes 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And they were kind of stuck because they had like families, kids, houses. And if they would have got divorced, they would have lost everything. And they weren't making good money. So if the court, like say you make $2,800 a month after taxes, and the court says $1,200 a month is going to go to your family, right? And then all of a sudden you got to pay rent, and you got to pay food, and you got to pay electricity and insurance, and now you're in the hole. And I can tell you what, and I know most of the men I've met that were married didn't tell me they were married until afterwards, and that's the thing. But the thing is a lot of them were married, and I mean, I wasn't going to sit there and say you're bad because the deed had been done, but a lot of them had wives that just had not put out in years, literally.
That's what they told you. That's what they told you. I mean, if they weren't upcoming, if they weren't straight up front about being married in the beginning, you didn't find out after the fact. What makes you think that they're telling you the truth about what they lack in their home? And another thing is going back to that 38% that Ted was talking about. 38% of marriages being sexless. Who are those 38? Are they over 60? Are they involving men who can't get their shit up? I mean, 38% could be a lot of things. Just to say 38 is what Ted is talking about. That's a very broad brush. 38% could be people over 70. There's a lot of people over 70 still married. So that 38% to me don't mean nothing. It could be a lot of men out there that can't get their thing up right now. So that contributes to that 38%.
They have Viagra.
So, I mean,
Viagra solves that.
That value part, that 38% to me goes out the window.
No, actually it doesn't, because there are plenty of men in sexless marriages who are not impotent. There are plenty of them.
I'm sure, but not a lot. Not 38% of them. Not all 38, Ted. Some of them 38 is impotent than a motherfucker. And then a lot of them are probably just old as hell, where the woman might have it's probably some medical issues in that 38 also. So for the fact that you left the medical aspect of that 38% out, as if that whole 38% was just problems of the marriage, is telling.
So what if it's 20%? You think that's still healthy?
Say what?
What if it's 20%?
You can't even, assuming a percentage is crazy for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't even guess a percentage. Hold on. I said you left out the aspect of the medical issues involved in that 38% to make it sound to help your stance, which I understand.
What percent accounts for that?
I'm not saying there's a percentage. I'm saying that in that 38%, there are medical issues. There's impotency. There are people who can't, and honestly, there's old folks who just probably ain't even interested in having sex right now.
What percent?
And then let's also take religion. There's also relationships out there where marriages out there where religion plays a role in how often they have sex. So I understand what you're trying to get at, Ted, but that was a very broad brush to throw that whole 38% over everybody as if it was just a marriage issue.
It is a marriage issue.
I got you. It is a marriage issue, but, speak more also on the medical aspect of it, not as if the woman is not doing what she's supposed to do.
There are lots of women not doing what they're supposed to do.
It's a lot of men not doing what they're supposed to do. She just told you men tell her after the fact that they're married. You don't say nothing about that shit.
No,
exactly. So when you speak about honesty, you got a lot of men out there who can't even be straightforward and honest enough to be grown ass men and get the respect that they should be getting in relationship. If they lying to this woman, best believe they lying to their own spouse and whoever else they talking to. They ain't shit.
I found that before I started transitioning, my wife did not want to have sex at all, right? Unless she wanted to have a kid, all of a sudden she was like insane. Like you couldn't have 1 second alone in your office and she was on you, right? So after our second sons were born, nothing, right? And about 6 months later, I kept bugging her. She had a headache, she was on her period, or there's always some excuse, right? She told me to get a girlfriend. So I went out with some of my friends and I got a girlfriend. After 6 months of her ragging on me, I got another girl, right? Okay? And I didn't come home till like Sunday morning at 6 a.m. And she was freaking out. And she's like, where were you? I met some girl. I was stationed at Fort Bragg. So it was easy to get a girl at Fort Bragg.
You did right.
And so she's like, where were you? I said, I was just hanging out. Didn't tell her up front, right? And then next weekend, she goes, where are you going? I'm going to go hang out with my friend. She's like, who's that? And I told her who it was. She goes, who's that? I said, it's the girl I was fucking last weekend. And she goes,
you told me to.
I said, 6 months you told me. And now that I actually do what you want, and now you're mad. I said, I'm going to go. I'll see you whenever. And after that, she started putting out again. Literally. She was like, and I was like, wow, And she kept telling me, and it's almost like she was daring me, and she never wanted to have sex ever that much. And I had a lot of soldiers who would complain about some of the same things. Not all, mind you, but there was a number of soldiers who found their wife had gained too much weight and was unattractive. Because they got a little too big and they weren't attracted to big women. And other guys were, they would just fuck anything with two legs. It didn't matter who it was. It could be like the post in the wall. It didn't matter. But I mean, but I found that it was really difficult to even know what was going on.
I mean, that out.
I heard was this: you should know what I'm thinking. And I'm like, what? I can't read your mind. I'm not a mind reader. And I've heard this from, in the past, multiple women. You should know what I'm thinking. And it's like, you know, if you can't tell me, I can't figure it out. At least I can say with men, they will tell you what they're thinking. They won't like bullshit you around, you know. But with women, it's always a game in some way. You know, it's like the cat and mouse almost. Not all. So I know women who are very upfront. But I would say a lot of women that I know, majority of my friends are women, and they're always in the people they're with. But it's really hard to really nail this stuff down because it's so different with everyone being different in so many ways.
Get this off my screen.
It's really hard, but I mean, yeah. And I feel like sometimes from what I've heard women say in my group, that they'll break up with their boyfriends. They will say they're taking a break and they'll go have a fling with someone else. And then they'll come back and make up with their boyfriend, and their boyfriend doesn't know that they were sleeping with X guy or Y guy. They'll just say they came back. And I've seen it happen a lot. It's almost like an intentional breakup to go be another guy, and then she comes back because she knows the guy's a simp. And he'll take her back because he just doesn't know any better. I mean, I see it a lot.
Happens way too much. So let me get the super chat. Pressure bust pipes and makes diamonds. Thanks for the super chat, man. LOL. What's his beef with you, Ted? You owe him some money or some. He's coming for your head. Disagrees with every single point you make. Yeah, so I let him on the show. This is good for discussion. He and I have had back and forth in Facebook. I have a private group in Facebook, and we've had some interesting conversations. This is the first time we've been face to face. So I appreciate him coming here and having this conversation with me. Definitely no beef from me. You know, it's good to hear other perspectives. Now, if I was absolutely a guy who didn't want to deal with people who said they disagreed with me, I'd never allow this situation to happen. And here, this is live and it's recorded. So
right.
Whatever, if I was accused of saying something, we can go back and listen to the recording and you'll hear
exactly.
That. And there are plenty of things that are written. So this is documented forever.
Exactly.
Love having Ali here because Ali has given us both sides of the table. What it was like to be a man, and what you said about women withholding sex happens way more than people want to even talk about. And then the other side, and being engaged with women and hearing the raw facts, the raw mindset that women just sort of spew and lay out. And a lot of guys don't get to hear that other side. So this is valuable. So, Mackie, what is it? I'm saying that if a woman, here's what I'm saying. If a woman works for you and she goes out and networks, she opens up her network with that her parents, her mother, her father has. She now has a different kind of commitment. It's the highest level would be if her father had a company and you come in to take the father's place as CEO. She can't really mess that up, right? Because you're now interwoven into the family and in some really important ways. But most women don't have a father who owns a significant company. So, but what they do have, I won't say most, there are women who have a valuable network, and women depend very much on their social standing. It's a reason women don't take the kind of risks that men take, because it's a social risk. You can look stupid. So women will find a guy who can leverage their network. And once she plugs you into that, she's going to operate with a different level of commitment to take care of you than a woman who doesn't do that. Because once you're plugged into her network and it's reaping benefits, she's more likely to look out for you, kind of like if you were running her daddy's company. So I'm saying that if you meet a woman and she's willing to plug you into her valuable network, a few good things happen. One is you have opportunities, right? You have a better life. Two is she's more likely to take care of you and look out for you because she doesn't want to screw up the network that she plugged you into. So she now has skin in the game as opposed to just cooking and cleaning, and she can walk just like a maid or a nanny can just quit, except your wife walks with half. So I'm highly recommending that guys deal with women and get them to put some skin in the game, which is to build a network. Means she's got to go out and do work. That means now you both are working to build something, as opposed to her just being home and being like a bottom feeder, feeding off of, the fruits of your labor. That's what I'm getting at.
Before this ends, I can tell you one thing. If you're a guy and you watch this, shit test your woman like she shit tests you. You know what I'm saying? Basically, find out about her before you really get pushed into with her. Like if her house looks like hell and she's not with you, your house is going to look like hell. If she has a problem with like being on time and can't get anything straight, she's going to be the same way with you. So how she is generally before you is how she's going to be with you. And some men are like, I can fix this. You can't fix it. She is what she is. And know her if you're looking long term. If you're looking for a shot for the night, that's one thing, and you move on. But if you are going to look long term or you want like something real, if you don't know who she is and then suddenly you find out who she is the next day and you're like, I moved her in, I got her credit card, I pay her car payment, and she's banging my best friend. And I just found out a month ago. I'm not saying it happens every time, but I'm just saying know who the hell you're going out with if you're going to go long term. Point blank.
I mean, that should be common sense, though. That comes from getting to know the person before you open your legs to them. That calls getting to know them before you open your wallet to them. That's common sense. And people don't exercise common sense today. They don't try to get to know the person. They only get with somebody to get something out of them. And that's the only reason why they get with. And Ted is suggesting that part. I don't going back to pressure bust pipes and makes diamonds. I don't have beef with Ted. Disagreeing with Ted, disagreeing with somebody doesn't mean you have beef with them. I don't want to see Ted at the gas pump and shoot his ass. I'll pop a motherfucker, but disagreeing with them in a debate ain't that serious. So anybody thinking disagreeing with somebody is beef is very immature and needs to learn how to hold a discussion or a debate. Nobody's going to always agree all the time. So this is just a healthy debate. I'm sure Ted only wants to hear from people that agree with him, but I'm not that dude. Also, males who look for women to network for them. I'm 50-50 on that, Ted. Like I said, it all depends on what he needs in his life. If he needs that woman to network and help his business blow upsway, then she needs to get off her ass and get out there and help that man. If she wants that half, if they get that divorce, I feel what you're saying. But like I said, that's on him for selecting her and allowing her to be a deadbeat and sit at home and leech off of him. And then when they divorce, she gets half. That's his dumbass fault. Should no man allow a woman, no real man allow a woman to leech off of him and then get half, especially if he already wealthy. So he has clearly some mental issues if he allows that to happen to himself.
We're all over 40 here, right? I'm 50, and I'm sure that you guys are whatever. But I see this primarily with like 20 to 30, 34 maybe in this not reading women right, and I think it was the same when I was younger, but it just seems like, as some people will say, you swallow the red pill, and once you swallow the red pill, you can't go back. I think a lot of younger guys don't understand this, and they just never had, like you guys telling some young guy, don't do this. This is what happened. You know?
And that's where the man in their life need to come in. Even if he ain't in the home, he need to get in that life and get in that boy head and tell him that stuff. Only a man could put that stuff. I put it in my son's head, so I don't understand why these deadbeat niggas out here ain't putting it in their son's head. I mean, that's something a man has to teach a man. That's something a man should teach a boy. You shouldn't depend on a woman to put that in the head of a boy. Okay? So if he's not out there doing exactly what you said, learning the woman, and is only out there getting draws and getting paper, then he deserves any adversity he gets in his life.
True, very, very true.
And if a woman doesn't benefit your life, then there's no reason to talk about having a relationship at all.
That's exactly it.
I don't care how.
Be with her. He shouldn't even be with her if she don't benefit him. It's a stupid nigga that's got a woman that is not benefiting. Show me a man that's with a woman right now that's not benefiting him, and I'll show you a guy that needs a individual learning plan. He's retarded. Okay. He's special. There's no man out there that should be right now knowingly with a woman that's not doing something for him. He's retarded.
I don't know if he's retarded or it's just he's
retarded.
Listen. We live in a culture. So I lived in other countries. And when Ali was talking about when people had to wash their clothes, I lived in the jungle of Belize with Mayan Indians, no electricity, no running water, and women had to wash clothes by hand. This was a back in the day where cooperation between a man and woman was important for your survival. And I watched how men and women work together. And here in the US, you don't see that kind of cooperation. In fact, there are too many women that have entitlement and believe they are entitled because they have a vagina and a uterus. I've been shocked with the amount of educated women who say the most valuable thing they bring to a man is their uterus. And there are too many guys, especially raised by a single mother, who their mothers have actually raised them to believe that. A lot of people think your mother is there and on your side. Love is not what we think it is. And there are a lot of people just assume that just by your mother being there, that she loves you. There are too many women who set their sons up to be put into a situation, and you might call it retarded. They just didn't know anybody. They didn't know. Yeah. It's like this. Se eu falo contigo en otro idioma, você não pode entender-me. ¿Por quê? Porque tú no puedes entender português. Okay? So they only know what they know. If I speak to you in Portuguese, you have no idea what I'm saying.
Because I'm American. We don't speak Portuguese in America.
See, there are things that they just don't know.
We're not supposed to speak Portuguese in America. Fuck that. And if he don't know it, then he wasn't taught. Then that means his mama and daddy failed him, because his mama not only didn't teach him, but his dumbass daddy stayed away too long and then come back and teach him when he saw the mama failing. You know what I'm saying? I took custody of my kids because I was told you shouldn't let a woman raise your kids by herself, especially boys. So if he allowed that to happen and he don't know no better, then the daddy is at fault for allowing that boy to grow up retarded and not know. If they live in a home and somebody speaks Portuguese, but the kids don't speak Portuguese, then they're not getting taught. It's that simple. It's just common sense. The parents fail. The mama and daddy. Not only the mama who sits in there every day trying to do everything, but the lazy ass daddy who don't have no responsibility but other than hold his dick in his hand and fuck other women, not coming back and putting that in the boy head. That he needs to get with a woman that's going to bring value in his life. Every man should get with a woman that's going to bring value in his life. That value don't have to be monetary, though.
And there are lots of men who don't want to be fathers, and women choose them.
Then they need to keep their dicks in their pants. If they don't want to be daddies, and it's just stupid to say, I don't want to be a daddy, but then you fuck with no condom on. Those are even more specially retarded ass men.
Okay.
So I can tell you one thing. I married a German woman. We returned to Germany. And I got screwed because I had to leave the country after the divorce, and she just basically railed me. And the Germans, they don't respect the laws where a child goes back to the country of origin, which was the USA, right? So basically, the German laws and lawyers and the federal people ignored anything that I did. So the other problem is I married a woman in a rich family. I didn't know it. And, there are certain bad things about marrying a woman that has well off. I should have figured it out that they're well off when her mom bought a house for her in Germany. She says, I'm going to buy this house for you and you can move in. She bought the house. And I was like, I should have figured it out then,
Right.
I used to be stationed in Schweinfurt for a couple of years. Did you live anywhere near Schweinfurt?
I was in Würzburg, but thing is I got because I was a civilian, I got so hosed by the system that when my sons get back to the States, I have to play catch up and get their head straight.
Give me 1 second, guys.
What do
going.
you have to get their head straights on though? Because my kids when I was stationed in Germany, my kids didn't go to school on base. I made my kids go to daycare and school in the civilian sector because I wanted my kids to learn German and to learn the culture. So I didn't allow them to go to school on base. But when they came back here to the States, they were a little bit more well-rounded and open-minded because of the new things that they learned, the new culture they learned. They could count to 100 in German, and they enjoyed it. So
I can say don't marry a foreign national, because if the minute you divorce the foreign national, and there's about, last time I checked a few years back, there's like 60,000 parents nationwide who have their kids in foreign countries and don't have access to them. 60,000. They went.
You mean the parents don't have access to the kids?
Because the
that sounds like some more retardation or some stuff they need to go through with the embassy. That sounds like an embassy issue.
I already went through that. Believe me.
And I honestly didn't have a problem with the German women over there. I was told before I got stationed over there how easygoing and supportive the German women are over there. So when I got over there and got stationed there and started mingling with the German women over there, I saw exactly what they was talking about. But as far as raising kids with them,
I'm telling you, don't marry foreign nationals.
If you're an American and you have a child by any woman overseas, like when I was stationed in Korea, we had guys that had babies with women from Korea. It's always going to be difficult. It usually is difficult. That's a difficult situation when that happens.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're an American male having kids overseas. But like I said, when my kids came back from Germany, I didn't have anything to deal with. They were very open-minded, very culturally well-rounded. They counted 100 in German and loved it.
I tell people, I say, if you can afford to live in a foreign country and still work, that's one thing. If you go to a foreign country and you live with them for, say, in that foreign country and you have to leave, that doesn't mean you're going to see your kids for a long time, because they hold that string over you in that country. And they know how to manipulate things better than you because they're from that country.
Hey, don't have kids by them then.
I'm telling you, don't make the mistake, because
a lot of these things that Ted is discussing is simple, common sense shit. Like he said, there's a lot of men out there don't want to be daddies, but they fucking.
Like, yeah, but when you're in love with someone,
how can you be on so much lead water that you don't want to be a father, but you go in with no condom on? Like, those are the males that are fucking things up because they don't want to be fathers, but they're going in with condoms on and the baby's born. Then they don't want to be fathers. They're not doing anything with the kids. But I doubt you'll hear Ted address those males.
True. But yeah. But my ex, I tell you what, she got me a job. She got me a decent paying job, right? But the problem was my work visa was running out. And she refused to co-sign for me to get my new work visa, because then it would become permanent, right? So, and she had the Pole in her family. I mean, the father was an architect. her sister's a doctor, brother's a doctor, her sister's husband's a doctor. They had more pull than I ever saw in my whole life. And when the mother bought her a house, she's like, and she spent like 200,000 euros on a house and just paid it.
Paid cash?
Yeah, she's like, I'll just pay some money. And I was like, what? And so there are some times when I can say that if your spouse or your girlfriend does have financial pull. I don't think it's that many. I think I would give it 10% maybe, but it does happen sometimes. But I think that problem, it becomes a class issue because I come from, I'll say, middle class to poor. Okay. And I remember the days when we had food stamps in the books. See, now I'm aging myself, right? and she came from a very wealthy family. So I think that some women, she was looking up versus down. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that was part of the reason, is she was looking up, to move up. But the irony is, I told her, I said, when you're over 40 and you're single, it's not the single area you're used to when you were younger. I said, it's not the same. And regardless of how things worked, it came back to bite her in the ass, you know? And so it's kind of interesting how that worked, but yeah, I think there was a social class issue because all her friends were higher up in the social system. Her family was higher up. And then I didn't fit into, as a male, fit into the social scene per se. You know what I mean? And that is a terrible problem, I think, depending on the woman. If a woman is born poor and she marries a guy who's middle class, she's done better. If a woman is wealthy and she marries down, she's probably going to leave for someone higher up no matter what. It's just a matter of time because of the stature. And it doesn't sink in. I think it doesn't sink into women until after they've had time to get past all of the stuff going on, where they can actually stop and sit and think. And then that's when you process it.
And that's why I say love is not what we think it is. It's more of a neurochemical reaction, and it feels good. And that's not a good enough reason to marry.
Dopamine.
The dopamine, oxytocin. Yep. So I'm going to bring this to a close. What are your final thoughts, closing remarks, takeaways?
Well, I would say just get to know the girl before you date them seriously.
Yes.
Don't move them in. Even if they're having financial problems, just move on to someone else. And know who you're dealing with. And here's the big thing. Become friends with their ex. I'm not saying that you have to be the best friends, but they will tell you things that you haven't seen in the future yet. I'm telling you. You're going to laugh at that, but it tells a lot of things, you know? But know the woman you're going to be with. And I'm glad to see you guys have your nice little thing back and forth.
How did you hear about me?
I saw you randomly on YouTube, and I subscribed. And because I swallowed the red pill a long time ago, I'm going my own way, as you can see. Okay. And my ex is not very happy with my direction. Okay. Let's just say that.
All right. Thank you.
But yeah, I appreciate this, and everything was great. And if I can add anything else again, let me know. So
I appreciate your input. Thanks a lot.
Right. Good to hear you guys. Take care. Right.
All right. You too. Mackie, someone asked you a question. I don't know if you saw it. What they want to know what you think about marriage.
Not speaking for me personally.
No, they're asking what
do I think of marriage? I think it's not for everyone. I think it's something that is doable. It depends on the two involved, and
Not general. This is not a general question. It's about you.
What specifically about what I think about marriage do they want to know?
No, just what do you think
Do
of
I
marriage?
believe in marriage? Yes, I believe in marriage. I mean, I'm not trying to understand the question. Yes, I believe in marriage. Is that the answer?
So you would marry then?
Yeah, I would marry.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see it in a negative light. Even though I am a divorced single parent, I'm not so thin-skinned and weak-minded that I would allow the actions of someone prior to me or someone in my past discourage me from my doing it again in the future. I don't do that. I know a lot of women do that and a lot of weak-minded males do that, but I don't do that. But I'm also not saying it is for everybody. Marriage ain't for everybody, especially nowadays. A lot of people out here not being raised to be in a relationship.
They haven't even seen it. They don't know what it looks like.
Right. They're not being raised around to be able to witness a couple going through ups and downs and fights and all of that. And I've witnessed that. That's the only reason why I say I'll do it again. My parents are going on 51 years of marriage this December. And I grew up watching them, their ups and downs, their everything from their financial struggles to their physical altercations. And 51 years solid. Okay. So I see successful marriages. And I think people who don't view marriage in a successful light are just people who have never seen marriage in a successful way. My father is retired chief of the fire department. He was the chief of the fire department in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. He retired as a battalion chief in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I watched my mother work and take care of the home while supporting my father. So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of variables. It's a lot of stuff, especially when you talk about relationships and marriage. I've seen the negatives and I've seen the positives. I mean, especially during my Army times. In my Army times, I saw so much cheating and dumb shit done between couples. It's retarded, man. You'd be surprised what goes down on a military base, especially when a unit deploys and stuff like that. So I've seen the good and the bad.
Is that when the women leave a broom out in front of their house or something, meaning they're available?
Of course, you would say that, but there are women who are in the military to get deployed too and leave their man behind. So what do you say about them?
I'm asking you, is that correct?
So you need to learn that there are women that are also in the Army and military period that get deployed and leave their man behind. There are a lot of women married to males that are not in the military.
I was just asking a question.
When women get deployed, the males go hoeing just as bad as the women that are left behind. There are men and women that get left behind that when their significant other goes overseas, they don't matter if they got kids or not. They just turn into hoes, male and female. So yeah, that's when it happens.
I only asked the question.
Yeah. So I've seen the good and the bad, and I'm strong enough and mature enough now to weed through all of that bullshit to know that when I get married, that I know that's something I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get married again. I'm not gonna run from it just because somebody did me wrong in the past, and I want to look at everybody in that same generalized way, like a lot of weak-minded women do, and a lot of weak-minded males do. They get hurt in their past, and now all men and all women are the same. So fuck them. Yeah, so I'll do it again.
Final thoughts, or were those your final thoughts?
Final thoughts on this, as far as the value of women. Yes, I do disagree. That doesn't mean I have beef with Ted for all you immature motherfuckers out there. I disagree that women don't have value. I feel like they do have value, but it's subjective and it will vary from male to male. It all depends on what he needs. You know, like some males need some things from women that other males don't. So that value will vary. And it's not always the value of money.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. So, hey, thank you for coming face to face with me. Appreciate it. Been quite a few months of back and forth between you and I, so I appreciate you engaging me live and and in public. So
A lot of stuff get misunderstood through text, and so you can see the lips move at the same time the words come out is a good thing.
no question, no question. So if a man wants to be in a relationship or marriage, if she's not bringing a return in his life, and
then he shouldn't be with her. He's stupid for getting with her in the first place.
I always listen to you in silence, right? Especially,
Right. Go ahead.
Right. If she's not bringing a return, and if you want marriage, no question, is a partnership. That is an agreement. It's a legal binding contract. And if you're not getting a return on your investment, and time is your number one investment, if she's not bringing back something and that's a positive on an asset on your balance sheet, it's just not worth it. So sex, uterus, you can pay a surrogate for a uterus. Cooking and cleaning, you can pay someone for that. Or you can learn to do it yourself. Like Mackie was saying, it wasn't as difficult as he thought. You just do it. I think there are too many people who have preconceived notions that things are difficult or they shouldn't have to do it. I had a woman tell me if we get married, she wants a nanny and a maid and all this because that stuff was too hard. And, that's putting problems before something even starts. So like Ali said, if you don't get to know that person, you're putting yourself in a hole without even knowing it. And by the time you figure it out, it will be too late. So I have these conversations from a man's perspective. I know there are guys out there who don't want to be fathers or they run from it. And at some point, we are going to have to make women clear that they are 100% responsible for their uterus. Somehow in Asian culture, they have like the teen pregnancy rate is astronomically low, like 3 or 4%. So somewhere those girls understand they are 100% responsible for their uterus. And that needs to come into definitely Black culture and others. So I'm going to sign out. I want to say thank you to everyone. Thanks for your input. And the super chats, you all went a little crazy for a while. So thank you for that. And I'll be back with another live chat, man. Be great if you could join us again, Mackie.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.